Hi, I'm Nadine Aisha Jassett, and welcome to this video from the National Library of Scotland's Fresh Ink initiative, where 10 emerging writers create and share new work on their experience of 2020. Sonali Misra is an Indian author and PhD researcher in publishing studies. Her debut nonfiction, 21 Fantastic Failures, was released in 2020, and her short stories and essays have appeared in British and Indian anthologies. She's the co-founder of the Selkie Publications CIC and the co-chair of the Society of Young Publishers Scotland. Sonali's Dear Sonali had me hooked from the first line to the last, as she writes back to her past self in 2020 from where she sits now. It was a reminder of how good writing, written with heart and story, can pull readers in and make that shared emotion of the author resonate with that of the reader. Here's Sonali reading an extract from Dear Sonali.
Hello, I'm Sonali Misra and I'll be reading an excerpt from my personal essay titled Dear Sonali, which I framed as a letter that I write to my past self, the Sonali I was on 1st January 2020, as I try to describe what lies ahead. You've had time to set up your new place, and unlike the university accommodation you stayed in during your masters, there will be enough space for both Mama and you to fit inside your bedroom. You could even stretch your limbs without knocking something over. As much as you enjoy proving to her that you can take care of yourself, of course, you've already demanded that she cook you kulcha chana and matar paneer because sometimes there's no replicating her recipes. In return, she'll enjoy British delicacies such as crumpets and scones and snack on as many fat, juicy strawberries as she can get her hands on, though you'll keep reminding her that she has to keep a handle on her pesky diabetes. Both of you will travel to places in the UK that you haven't seen before, the highlight being the Lake District. She'll insist that it's more beautiful than the Scottish Highlands, but your loyalty to a nation that you've lived in for the past few years will fight that. You'll take stunning pictures of her in landscapes that could pass off as cardboard backdrops of movie sets, and she'll try her best to return the favor, but she'll either shake the camera, cut off your feet, or block the lens with a finger until you give up entirely and not always graciously. As much as you'd like to keep the peace, you'll bicker about frivolous things that I can't recall now. What I do remember is the secrets you both will share that you never could in a man-filled house. You'll also learn to rein in the confidence that you have moving through the public spaces, a delirious feeling that you've never experienced in India as a woman when your wallet will be stolen. In where else? London. Even after crying for a few hours over the monetary loss and the invasion, it'll take several weeks for you to rid yourself of the distrust you develop for these strangers in this foreign land. But you'll have to suck it up because Mama will be leaving in 2 more days, and you won't want her trip to end on a negative. And I'm so glad that you do. Unbeknownst to either of you, this will be the last time that you'll be together for a year and counting. I only wish you would choose kindness over strife and hug her more fiercely as you say goodbye, though your taller than Mama body is still not accustomed to how your figures fit in the reserved for special occasions embrace. Back in Edinburgh with your 4 human and 1 dog housemates, you'll miss Mama's presence and having a companion you could speak with in Hindi about shared cultural experiences that you'd always have to annotate for folks in the UK. But there'll be other things to keep you distracted. Your PhD, obviously, but also house parties, day trips, pub meets, literary events, and those long walks in Holyrood Park. You'll even finally climb Arthur's Seat. Things with A seem to be progressing well. You'll go on 4 dates, walks, cafes, restaurants, art galleries, and you'll plan a mini golf double date with friends like they do in the movies. Just as those whispers that have been crossing the ocean since late 2019, whispers of a new disease, start getting louder. They'll eventually drown out everything else. This new virus will seem scarier than the bird or swine flus, but as distant and foreign as Ebola was. Just awful. So bad, so sad. Those poor people in a far off land you'll probably never visit. Humans have a tendency to die though. It's the truth that you've grown up knowing in a country that has more people than it knows what to do with. You're desensitized to violence and death, but not enough to make a habit of reading daily newspapers that are smattered with rape, murder, disease. You'd rather get your highlights from Twitter. But even it will be abuzz with news of COVID-19, along with bat soup jokes and racism against the Chinese, with talks of how the virus will strike a balance between being infectious and deadly to spread far and quick. How it will especially be fatal to the vulnerable, the elderly and the chronically ill. You're supposed to gift Papa a Mercedes and Mama a world tour soon so that they can enjoy them in their 60s. Mama also has that pesky diabetes. China doesn't seem so distant and foreign when you view an Indian map. Since COVID will occupy so much headspace and actual internet bandwidth, one would hope that the universe would suspend all other grief. But life has no overarching logic, no system of checks and balances. In the second week of lockdown, your friend will fall and break her back and spend a year in rehab as she becomes paralyzed from the waist down. You won't see her because of the risk of infecting her and you'll miss her. Another friend will worry for her mother's health and tell you that her worst nightmare is losing her mother. And it'll come true since Indian hospitals won't be able to accommodate auntie's heart surgery in time due to the strain on healthcare caused by the pandemic. You won't be there for your friend because of the travel risk and you'll feel helpless. One of your oldest family friends, someone you've known your entire life, your parents have known for 40 years, will die of suicide as his clinical depression will worsen in corona times. You will regret not meeting him the last time you had a chance to and rage at the ignorance about mental illness in India. Your own Mamaji, the elder of your family, the man who practically raised his sisters, your mother, after their mother died when Mama was only 13, will unexpectedly pass away on a day that you knew you would be especially homesick because it would be Diwali and your dog Rico's birthday. You will stay in bed and cry until your eyes are red and head cloudy. You will not be by Mama's side when she needs you and this will haunt you. Of course, your father and brother love her and will care for her, but they don't know her like you do. They don't understand what each smirk, twinkle, frown on her face means. They don't know when she needs someone and when she needs space. They are not the one she turns to and says, "You have taught me what it is to be in a mother-daughter relationship, one that I couldn't have. You are my mother reincarnate." Even in her grief, after losing one of the people she has loved most, she will tell you not to worry, not to be too sad as you are all alone. And that will torment you more and you will wish, not for the first time and not the last, that you had hugged her harder at the London airport before she turned away. I'm sorry. I don't think I've said that to you yet. My heart aches for myself, but also you. You will experience, not endure, experience so much hurt in a year that will both fly by and never end. But I envy you too. You at least have 3 months of normality left before we forget what that means for us anymore. It probably seems like I'm bombarding you with burdens. You'll think, it must be because it's all packed together so black and white on the page. It must be the medium's fault. But I didn't have that slippery hope to clutch on to when I faced everything for myself. Most of these events will occur simultaneously or right after another, so that before you've had a chance to recover, you will be doused in grief again. The 4 walls of your bedroom will become your only physical companions, along with misery and tears, and you'll find yourself returning to the same refrain. It's too much. It's all too much. You know you can manage crisis, but when that I becomes E and you begin to live within crisis mode perpetually, you will feel like you are drowning and will clamor for a full breath. Short inhales will appear in the form of a few personal and professional wins, but none will escape the tinge of sadness that will shroud everything you do this year. Thank you.